Hello YouTube fam and welcome back. Welcome back indeed. Things are squeaking around here. And welcome back to episode 5 of The Letter. Let's just jump right back into it, shall we? Let's just go. They're trying to figure out what's so important. We about to sell this mansion. Once in a lifetime. Becca only raises an eyebrow at me, while Zach appears like he didn't get the punchline to another lame joke Ash made, and is desperately searching for someone to explain. Ah yes, I get to choose. Ash is not here, so we should celebrate? That's rude. You know, Ash is nice in a way. My instant noodle days are over.
Okay, let me do that again.
God damn it.
Guess what, guys? I'm paying! I sold the house!
As the news sinks in, their expression goes from sheer bewilderment to utter surprise. That's more like it.
You heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. As of today, I'm Maria Isabella Grace Cruz Santos and free from my instant noodle binge.
Let's not get too cocky yet, shall we?
Hold it, Belle. You sold the house?
Yep.
Which house is this? In Anselm Village? The one with the open house yesterday?
The one and only. Come on, Becca. I know you've got a better memory than that.
Oh, wow. That's...
She lets out a hum. Although she's nodding, she gives the impression of someone who has heard something unbelievable and is still forcing her brain to absorb it. Did she think we wouldn't be able to sell it? Have some faith in me, Becca. Am I not your best friend or what?
You don't believe me?
The words tumble out of my mouth before I could stop them. I've been trying to avoid bringing up yesterday's little spat, and judging from the looks on their faces, it seems they are too. Me and my stupid mouth.
The way you're thinking, Bella.
No, I do believe you. But don't you think the sale happened a bit too fast? The open house only started yesterday, and now you already have a buyer?
It happens from time to time.
Yeah, but... Look, I'm happy for you. Just yesterday, you've been really worried where to get money for your dad's new treatment. And now, all of a sudden, you have something. What if the sale doesn't push through, or I don't know, they're a fraud, or they suddenly back out? Isn't it a little too early to celebrate?
Rebecca does have a point, Bella. If you haven't closed the deal yet, there's still a chance they'll go back on it.
That's what I was saying.
They don't seem like it to me. The lady appeared to really want it, and she approached me without even finishing the tour.
Pressured me into it, more like. But I'm not going to tell Becca about that. Knowing her, she'd only worry.
And she already hired someone to handle the house's interior design.
You're joking. Who would do that?
The Wrights, apparently. It's actually pretty funny. She's a bit too excited to get the property, she forgot to buy it. At any rate, they've already signed the agreement today, so it's just a matter of time. And don't tell anyone about this, but Ma'am Hannah also gave us something extra.
Something as in...
As in, it's why I can treat you two to a free meal.
I'm more surprised you accepted it.
She didn't really give us a choice in the matter. So don't lose sleep over this, okay? The couple really want the house. If Rose didn't stop them, they'd likely have paid up front for it yesterday. That's despite the legends, too. I even tried to show them the letter. But nope. I want this house, darling. Go take all our money.
You don't really think they believe that, do you? I'm pretty sure for them, those are just rumors as well. No one is that superstitious in this day and age, Belle. Well, there's you.
Right. You know what? I'll just eat all of these by myself.
I begin to gather their plates to my side, the food in each still untouched. A laugh almost escapes my mouth with the way Zach's expression quickly changes to disappointment. Becca's hand interrupts me just as I'm about to pull her plate closer to me.
I'm kidding! Don't go all pouty on me again. I'm just concerned you'll get hurt if this doesn't happen. I know how badly you want to close this deal for your papa.
I'm sure he's gonna be fine now, though, with the money. They don't know yet. I think I'll call them tomorrow. Let them know things will be easier.
Wait till the
Mama
deal
said
goes
this
through.
morning he's showing progress with the new treatment too. It's just a matter of time.
I allow myself to smile, genuine and uninhibited. It's strange talking about this with other people, even those who have known you long enough. But today, things simply feel a whole lot lighter with them here. Lunch passes in an enjoyable fashion. A laugh here, a playful jab there, but most of it is spent on catching up and telling stories about whatever's keeping us busy these days. Something we couldn't afford to do the day before, taking into account what happened. Even Becca's surprisingly chatty. Is there something in the sea bass we ate? Zach, though, appears less energetic. While he's far from being the life of the party, he's definitely not the type to keep quiet in a conversation with his friends. Apart from a few inputs, he's been silent the entire time. If Becca notices...
Are you sure you're not feeling under the weather, Zachary?
Huh? No, I'm okay. No worries, Rebecca.
Doesn't sound okay to me.
It's okay. I might be feeling a little bummed out today, but I'm sure this will pass.
Is it about the reviews this morning?
A pained expression crosses Zach's face, and almost immediately Becca retreats in her inquiry as though the man's look is enough of an answer for her. I look between the two of them. Did I miss something? What happened this morning? Did I stumble on a big secret? This is why I don't like waking up late.
You heard about those, huh?
Sorry, I just happened to check on some sites this morning.
Nah, it's a very sensitive topic in the first place. I should have expected it.
What reviews?
Becca glances at Zach, her motions unsure, eyes asking for his consent on the matter. Although there's a small desire to keep asking on my part, I don't dare voice it out. With Zach, it has always been better to wait, let him speak on his own. Becca too, to some extent, although with her explosions of temper are more common. In the end, he simply answers with a shift of his shoulders, gesturing for her to go on with the tilt of his head.
It's his movie.
That doesn't explain anything. Stop dangling the information, Becca.
Zachary, I'm not the one supposed to be telling her about this. It's still your documentary.
Is it something bad?
Not bad per se. You guys don't need to dwell on it much.
Bad? Listen here. I wouldn't trivialize what those bowheads wrote if I were you. They're ruining other people's jobs.
From how her tone rises in anger, it seems like she's the one slighted and not Zach. A snicker escapes me, which I promptly stamp down on as soon as she sends me a hard look.
This isn't a laughing matter, Isabella. Some bowbag just insulted him.
Calm down, Rebecca. Those are just reviews, and it happens a lot.
I do not ken about you two, but calling the entire film an out-and-out drivel, you're better off watching an educational kids' TV show, and worst 1.5 hour of my life, among other things, isn't exactly a critique any decent movie reviewer would say.
Damn.
If you could call that a critique, did we even watch the same film?
Well, maybe I ain't cut out for it. Better stick with my photography or something.
Nah, fuck that.
Nothing else that's helped me open my eyes to what I can and can't do.
You're
Dude,
giving up.
Dude, it was your first film. Wasn't a question.
It was just something experimental I did on my free time anyway. It's no big deal.
But you worked on it for months.
Doesn't look like it matters for those people.
Don't say that!
My palm strikes the table, sending the tableware on top clinking against each other. I didn't even notice when I rose from my seat, but here I am, chest heaving, looking down at him in the same manner a teacher would at an unruly student. Becca's probably proud. I didn't mean to yell, but there are some things people like Zach aren't supposed to say. How exasperating. He, of all people, should know.
It's just a review.
Except they're pretty well-known critics.
Why does that matter? They aren't the ones calling the shots on this. Isn't that why they have a committee? Right, Becca?
An amused gleam is in her eyes when I turn to her. What does she find so entertaining here? Help me here. Your friend's about to quit his passion for a petty reason. I haven't read what those people wrote about his work, but a few scathing words shouldn't be enough to discourage someone. I should know, after
Failing
all.
means you're playing, Zach. Not that I'm saying it's bad. I've seen it from start to finish, and I know for myself what you created isn't something people should scoff at. I don't know anything about filming or photography. Hell, I don't have an inkling of artistry in me except for those doodles I make for class. But I know what I watched. Look at Isabella. It's not every day you see her all riled up like this.
Whatever I'm about to say gets lost in my tongue as a flush of embarrassment blooms across my
It was
face.
a heat of the moment thing. And anyway, I'll be very angry with you if you quit. What about the exhibit?
What exhibit?
Classified information.
Even if I bring you your favorite tonight?
Nope, not a chance.
Oh, come on! I thought we aren't supposed to have secrets.
A burst of laughter comes from Zach.
Thanks, you two. I might need some time alone to myself for a while. Just to think about things, how I'll go from here, that sort of stuff. Hey, I'm not quitting, Bella. Don't give me that face.
There's no face at all, only a poor imitation of puppy dog eyes, if you could call this one.
Promise?
I'll be damned if I break any promise I make to you guys. Besides, you're right. It's too early to say anything right now. Once night ain't for another week.
And that's all the answer I need from him. As sentimental as it sounds, there's fulfillment in knowing another person you know won't take the same path you've walked. It's not like it's over for me, though. I still have time. I could still come back. Do my own thing, do what I really want to do. Surely once Papa recovers, once I'm done with everything. Inside my bag, my phone buzzes unexpectedly, breaking the pleasant afternoon lull. The screen shows Rose.
Isabel, you at the office?
Ha ha, very funny, Rose. I'm hanging up.
Don't, I'm kidding. BRC says the floor plan copies are ready for Miss McCullough to pick up.
She states as if it was already explained everything. Then, out of the blue, she launches a long rant about the awful state of Luxembourg's streets, all of which she says in a single breath that I can barely keep up and make out a single word. I stay quiet, if only to avoid becoming the next object of her frustration.
I'm stuck in horrendous traffic right now. Bloody stupid drivers.
When she has finally ran out of things to complain about and stops, what she says next still has none of what I'm hoping to hear from her. Just a quick mumbled plea for me to meet the right interior designer in her stead. And
I'll leave it to you. Bye. Thanks.
Classic Rose. She ends the call without even asking for my input. The sky is cloudless and the noontime sun is beating down on the hard concrete when we leave the cafe. It's far from unbearable, but it's enough to put most people in a fickle mood or make them vulnerable to catching something. No wonder we have staff members going AWOL lately, not to mention my boss's peculiar moods. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want our usual cloudy weather back. For all the gripes about the unpredictable weather, though, the street of Luxembourg remains constantly busy. The hurried tapping of shoes against the pavement and the inane chatter coming from the lunchtime crowd fill the humid afternoon air. A small reminder of the things we still have to do, regardless of how much I want to return to the comfort of my bed. Back to Briar Realty for me, Zach to a meeting with a magazine publisher featuring luxury houses, and Becca to her lesson plans. But more than once I catch her sneaking a longing glance over something displayed on a window shop. Did she want to buy something? Maybe I can get it for her for this Christmas. I turned my head at the last shop she checked out. A fleeting glimpse. The world stills. Oh my god, she looks at me, eyes hollow, gaze piercing and boring into my very soul. There are no shadows or whispers this time. Only a plea. A hum, low and indistinct. Compelling me, beckoning me, intent on dragging me to the void beyond the glass. I don't dare move. My heart hammers against my ribs, each beat, every thump screaming at me to look away and make a run for it. But I can't. I couldn't. All of my limbs feel heavy, while my own breath strains in the face of her calls.
Leave me alone.
Her mouth is stretched in a grin, wide and unpleasant. The panic building up in my chest forces me to take a tentative step back. I try not to stare at the decaying flesh with the blood streaming from the gaping wounds on her arm or her nailless fingers. I don't want this. Not like this. Not after I got what I want for Papa.
No, stop. Leave me alone.
Her face contorts and she lets out a wail, sharp and utterly unforgiving. Rage. There is only hatred and bitterness, as if the very notion of turning away from her is an offense in and of itself.
Please! I don't want this!
Before I know it, I'm stumbling backwards, my own throat hoarse from the screams I didn't even notice already coming out of my mouth. The back of my feet catches on a loose stone, sending me sprawling on the ground. For a little while, my surroundings appear unfamiliar. A look of concern is on her face, and her hands are gripping my arms tight. Even Zach appears beside himself with worry while he stands behind her, acting as a shield against the small crowd of onlookers already forming around us.
What happened?
Bella, you okay?
My mouth opens and closes, but nothing comes out. The words refuse to form. On impulse, I sneak a swift glance at the display window. She's gone. Yet the foreboding feeling hasn't left me. My hands are shaking as I push myself off the ground, my weakened limbs relying solely on the reflex and muscle memory. Something icy has made its home at the pit of my stomach. I want to throw up. Anything to get the wretched sensation out.
You were screaming. Zach, call someone!
No, don't. I'm good. I'm good. I need to get to the office. Rose, the floor plans. Someone's going to pick it up. I'll see you later.
Careful. Don't stand up yet. Stay put, Isabella. Zach, you watch over her for me. I'll call for someone.
I attempt to smile to put her at ease, but it likely comes off as a grimace. Gently, I pushed her hands off my shoulders. My knees are still trembling, but I can stand. Leave. Leave me. Stay away. Away. The humidity stifling. Everyone's stares are unnerving and Beck and Zach's concerns are suffocating. I don't want to be here. No more. I break into a run. Uh-oh. Wish I hadn't left. Oh, here with occasional drips of water on the sink and the whirling of the fan blades to keep me company. But even with the clutter to keep me company, the room still feels a whole lot bigger than usual. I hug my knees closer as a group passes by outside. Loud. So loud. If only there was a way to tune everything out to keep my head from replaying every image, every sound of her. Her screams, her awkward gait as she reaches for me, her bone-chilling smile, her pleas for enough. That's enough. A shiver passes over me, though it's not from the hair still hanging damp against my back, nor the draft that enters the room from the windows I've left wide open. My gaze shifts over the letter, sitting on the coffee table, its edges flutter inquitously as... Oh, funny how an ordinary-looking piece of paper can bring this much trouble. The impulse to throw it away or to rip it into pieces is still there. I can easily do it, but after that, what? Will she leave me? What about those people who have already seen it? Will they be okay? This uncertainty gnaws at me, knowing that she's real and might also go after the people I care about. I just wish someone would listen, believe me. The abrupt break in the silence nearly makes me jump out of my skin. Blindly, I fish out my phone from under the mess of papers and cushions where I've carelessly thrown it before taking a shower hours ago. Ash's name flashes brightly on the screen. Is he calling because of this afternoon?
Thank you so much for spamming my inbox, scaredy cat.
Hey, Ash.
What's wrong?
I just had a long day. The couple who bought the house wanted us to finish processing the papers within the week. It's a little hectic, but we'll manage.
Really? You sold it?
Don't sound so surprised. I told you, you don't stand a chance. The rights won't take no for an answer. You've been on the losing end from the very start. Ha!
Whoever said I was interested in the house in the first place?
But you said...
Despite his light tone, his snicker only comes off as annoying to my ears. I have to fight the urge to end the call right then and there. Stupid Ash.
Such an ass. And just so you know, I'm not treating you to a separate celebration. Or ever.
No, that's just unfair. And here I was looking something up for you. Didn't you say you wanted to talk to Andrew?
I pause. I did say that, but I didn't think he'd actually go through the trouble, considering how much he scoffed at the whole topic in the first place.
Is he okay with that?
Totally. Besides, I need to ask him about something. I might as well do it soon. What do you say you come with me tomorrow morning?
Well, there's no harm in it, I suppose. I've got a free day anyway.
Great, I'll just pick you up. Don't oversleep.
Don't compare me to you. I'm not the one who sleeps like a rock.
Another round of chuckles comes from him. Oh, I will live for the day he'll stop making fun of me. Just wait, you ashhole. As I'm about to end the call, he clears his throat.
Isabella?
His sudden, diffident tone sends my eyebrows shooting up into my hairline. Is the world ending
Yeah?
today?
Did you forget something?
Do you think we... Never mind. Good night.
He hangs up instantly. Rude. Completely rude. I didn't even get to thank him. The busy tone, though muffled, echoes through the receiver. No one is saying this will work. Even I am doubtful it will. But right now, I'll take anything. Anything to get out of this nightmare. Sleep comes easier tonight. And for the first time in a long time, I dream. Clear skies of unrestrained laughter from children playing in the streets and of a small, cramped dwellings. To an outsider, the sight does not paint a pretty picture. However, this is home to me. October 23rd, Sunday. Morning dawns, bright and clear the following day. Although the air still feels muggy and I miss the chilly autumn weather, it's one of those rare weekends when I'm up even... Oh, if it wasn't for Ash's call last night, I'd probably sleep in. When 9 a.m. rolls around, I'm already heading downstairs where Ash is waiting for me in his car. His hair is a disheveled mess, eyes drowsy, and overall looking like he hurried to get out of bed. Or fell out of it. Or both. He looks adorably rumpled this way. Excuse me? But I'm not going to tell him that. It'll only bloat his unbearable
Good
ego.
morning, Ash.
He makes a motion with his finger around his ear. Tone it down.
Can you even drive?
He answers me with a slight raise of his hand, a yawn, and nothing more. He has never been particularly fond of mornings, and for that I'm thankful to every god in the universe, less mental capacity for him to make fun of me. Ha, there's a reason why mornings are my favorite. It doesn't take long for us to reach our destination, the small cafe situated in Luxembourg's busiest street, the same one I'd often visit with Becca for its cheap food. Never gone here on a Sunday, and it's strikingly how different it appears. Without the usual weekday and Saturday rush, the atmosphere especially reminds me of something we also have back home near the university I used to attend. I wonder what happened to it. It was being renovated before I left, so I never got to visit one last time. The place has always had a calming effect on me, but today, despite standing in a place similar to it, anxiety easily washes over me as soon as I step out of the car. I'm quite used to dealing with people I've never met before, thanks to my work, but still, I don't know him. In spite of the fact both Ash and Becca have vouched for him, what will he think of me and my story? What if he thinks I'm crazy? Hell, even my own friends thought so. I draw in a breath to quell the panic beginning to rise in me. Oh well, only one way to find out. A few hesitant steps forward and then Ash suddenly pulling me back by my elbow.
Hold on, scaredy cat, not too fast.
Without warning, he flicks my forehead
That hurts.
hard.
What was that for?
He's already walking away when I look up, and I hurry to catch up with him, puzzled. I really don't understand this guy. At least explain why you're flicking other people's foreheads all of a sudden. So
Get
rude.
yourself together, will you? He's not going to bite. He's very accommodating, too.
I wasn't scared of him or anything.
You don't look like it. Didn't sound like you were okay last night either.
Huh?
What was that last one? Hey, don't just ignore me.
All questions and retorts die on my mouth once he opens the door to the shop. A cast iron bell attached to it chimes softly. Smell of freshly brewed coffee welcomes us as soon as we step in. Like the usual, several tables and chairs have been set up for the patrons, but most of the customers have forgone them in favor of the more comfortable throw pillows and beanbags the staff have laid out on the floor. Becca would love to know they have something like this on Sundays. She's been complaining about how uncomfortable the library chairs are for a long time now. Ash leads me to a secluded spot near the window where an old man, probably in his 50s or 60s, is seated, enjoying a brew and a book.
It's just Andrew now. I'm no longer your professor, Detective Inspector Frey.
The guy, Andrew, looks up from his book and gives him a smile. A sheepish look crosses Ash's face at the older man's admonishment. More unusual, in my opinion, is seeing him appear like a parent that just scolded him. But it suggests a familiarity between them, one that goes beyond what someone expects from a simple student and mentor. With another warm smile, he gestures for us to take the empty seats opposite him.
Have you been waiting long?
Quite some time. But I come here early on weekends. Best time to get their first serving of bear claws. They're the only place that serves it here. I took the liberty of ordering for you two. I hope you don't mind. I thought it'd be best to talk over a decent helping of coffee.
Soon enough, a waiter brings us 2 more cups and sits down a basket of
Aren't you going to introduce the
pastries.
lady?
Ah, right, sorry. Isabella, this is Prof. Andrew. He's one of my professors back at the university. Andrew, this is Isabella Santos.
Santos. Portuguese? Spanish? Brazilian? Mexican?
Filipino.
Actually. It's a pleasure to
Pina.
meet you, Professor.
Ah, your name carries a lot of history, Miss Santos. Just Andrew is fine. Don't do what Ashton's doing. He doesn't listen to this old man.
He doesn't listen to anyone, more like. The awkward tension typically presents in first meetings dissipates after that. I was expecting someone strict and to an extent someone severe. But Professor Andrew Clark is definitely the opposite of what I have in mind, the more personable kind, similar to a grandfather who dotes on you of family mishaps. It's obvious why Ash has taken a liking
Ashton
to
tells
him.
me there's something you wish to discuss that I could help with. Let's hear it then.
I give Ash a hesitant glance, but he just nods and gestures towards Andrew with his head. He's leaving this to me. It's my story to tell, after all. I keep it short and concise. I found a letter in this old mansion. Now I'm cursed. Exactly as I've told Ash and Zach when they asked about it. I don't mention the name of the place. No use saying it now that someone else legally owns it. No use dragging other people into my problem.
I'm sure it's that letter I found, but I don't know anymore. I just want to know how to escape this nightmare.
Of course. We're talking about the one in Anslem Village, aren't we?
How did you...
Don't look so surprised. There's only one place popular enough here if we're going to talk about hauntings. I once had a colleague who wrote about it and the urban legends surrounding the place. Years worth of study, but fascinating. It's a shame he passed away at such a young age. He would have done a much better job at explaining topics like this one compared to me. Ashton here might disagree, but it's an interesting topic in sociology, if you care to have an open mind.
Studying the science and theory behind it is completely different from outright believing in it.
You don't believe in those stories, sir?
Now, this isn't a question of belief. All I'm saying is things like these speak a lot about a place's culture and history. And it's not just limited to ghosts. Monsters, gods, you name it. Even you, Miss Santos.
What about me?
How you respond to these stories. It tells a lot about you and your upbringing, in the same way it tells me why our detective inspector here finds such topics absurd. Interesting, isn't it?
My head is starting to spin from all of this. I'm not the smartest person around, but I understand what he's trying to get at, I think. Still too much to take in at once. I look to Ash for help, but his eyebrows are drawn in a frown. If he keeps staring like that at his cup, I'm pretty sure it'll crack soon.
There's still something you're not telling.
Didn't I tell you everything the other day?
Yeah, but you mentioned the rights, then you proceeded to drop the topic right after. What's with that?
They don't have anything to do with this.
Rights. Luke and Hannah, right?
Yeah, they're the ones who got the place.
Ah, I'm not surprised. They're the kind who gets what they want when they set their eyes on it. From what I've heard, word gets around.
A heavy sigh escapes my lips. Popular or not, they're just my clients. I'll be a little pushy, but just clients. I wish he'd stop pestering me about them. We will go with, I know you're trying to help. What is it again that Becca does when dealing with a particularly different child? I gotta hit the auto again. The pesky, annoying kind. I wish I could remember. Could certainly use the same trick right
Ashton,
about
look
now.
here. I know you're trying to help, but the deal's almost already closed. The papers are being prepared. Once it's done, it's over. I'm just their agent.
And when is that happening?
When what? Is there even a purpose to this line of questioning?
Your working relationship with them. When's it going to end?
About a week from now? It depends on how long the papers will take, but they want us to rush it.
Really? You're absolutely sure about that?
Yes, really. Unless they want to buy a house again and want me and Rose to be their agent. If yes, then I don't see a problem with it. Now stop annoying me about it.
Don't accept it.
What? Why? It's my job.
Oh lord, even my younger siblings aren't this difficult to deal with. Then again, Ash is far from a younger sibling to me. If he'd only spell it out, surely I'd understand. Wouldn't even have to talk about it right now. That's how it is, right? Find an even ground, talk about it like the adults we are. It wasn't like this before, but somehow, somewhere along the way, something has changed in us as people, as friends. I wish there's a way I could tell when or why. Instead, I'm left searching blindly for reasons. The next thing we know, we'll be drifting further and further apart. How frustrating.
Now, kids, settle down. We're not going to solve anything by shouting.
Sorry, Sir Andrew.
And we're not going to solve anything either if you keep omitting things.
Speak for yourself. I'm not the only one doing it.
You'll have to forgive my former student, Miss Santos. He's always been the curious kind. Many people think he's lazy, but it's actually the opposite. I see that hasn't changed.
Oh, really? How is he back when he was your student? I'm sorry, I need to ask. He doesn't talk much about that.
And there's a reason why. Please don't.
Tried to sleep on the first day of class. He didn't repeat it after what I made him do when I caught him. Students like him are the easiest to deal with, once you know what piques their interest. I'd have to say, he's one of the very few who's actually interested in the subject, though. But there was this one time when...
By the end of the conversation, Axe looks like he's praying for the ground to swallow him. He's never been one to talk about himself. What I know about him are mostly bits and pieces I've gleaned over the years. He's an atrocious singer, he's bad at art, and he has a personal vendetta against mornings. Now it feels he isn't that hard to figure out, after all. It's past noon when Andrew has to leave us for another meeting. But before we separate...
Santos, a word of advice. Just keep in mind that when it comes to cases such as this, they aren't always what they seem.
Naturally, the mansion in the letter was brought up several times during our talk. And though Ash is right in that Andrew offers a different perspective, he has left me with more questions than answered instead. What is she? What does she want from me? Is she ever going to leave? They all continue to bug me after we've left the coffee shop. I don't even notice when Ash takes a different turn on our way back.
Where are we going? You can drop me off at the park.
Guess. You have 3 chances.
I'm serious, Ash. Where are we going?
He doesn't answer, but shortly he stops his car in front of a small, nondescript food stall a little ways away from the movie house. If I wasn't paying closer attention, I would have missed it without a doubt. He motions for me to wait as he gets off the car and walks in its direction. Sheesh, if you want to buy something, just say it. No need to make yourself look mysterious. It makes you look more like a dork than cool. The wait isn't long, however. Soon he's walking back holding 2 fish-shaped cones in both hands. Ice cream? Parfait? A cross of the 2? By the time he's back inside the car, I've given up any effort to figure out what he bought. Not that it looks bad, it's actually quite cute.
Here, take it.
I have to move my head back a little when he thrusts it at me to avoid the ice cream and the fruit toppings from ending up on my nose.
What's this for?
My arm's getting tired. 5, 4, 3, 2.
With a wary glance, I take it off his hands. I still don't understand why there's a need for ice cream today. Nevertheless, I take a small bite. ... It's actually pretty good. Must have shown in my face because he chuckles as soon as I take another one.
Saw the place open the other day when we watched Zach's movie. Thought I should give it a try. It doesn't seem like a bad place to get food from time to time.
And you're giving me free ice cream because...
Do I need to have a reason?
Are you really going to ask me that?
Here's the thing with Ashton Frey. He does not just treat anyone to free food because he feels like it. He's that much of a Scrooge. Hell, he'll even ask me to teach him how to haggle once. Haggle. Of all the people who'd ask me that, I'd have to expected such a request from Becca, but Ash, not at all. If I'm going to be honest, he looks a bit constipated with that expression on his face right now. I think he's starting to regret ever buying this.
The other day? The movie with Zach and Rebecca? Rebecca's there, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Anyway, during the movie, we, that's to say, we... Shit. Should have written down something first.
Get to the point, Ashton.
Right. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry for, not getting to the point. I'm sorry for the other day. I got carried away. I said things that upset you. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay? That's all? That's all you're going to say? You're not still angry, are you?
You didn't have to buy me anything. A simple sorry would have been enough.
I bite into the cone again, a small attempt to keep myself occupied or relieve the heat crawling up my face. It doesn't work, but at least I don't have to look at him. Why I'm feeling embarrassed over an apology, I have no idea. It's not like it wasn't called for. They were being mean, especially him, and in that fraction of a second, it hits me. He skipped his day off just for today. I should be the one apologizing and thanking him. Silence is an awkward company while we finish our respective snacks. There are words for this, for people like us, for understandings and sentiments like this. Yet in this instant, they won't come. As promised, he drops me off at the park right after, phrases unsaid still hanging heavily in the air. I'm not buying it. In this weather, the city park gives off a lazier and more languid vibe than usual. Where children are usually seen running around and playing, there are now people lying, leaning back on their picnic blankets, simply enjoying the afternoon sun. The smell of the food drifts from nearby carts, and if the wind blows in the right direction, one can catch a whiff of freshly trimmed grass. Maybe I should try walking home today to get my mind off things. To try and find the words somehow. I haven't done that in a
Thanks,
while.
Ash, for today.
No problem. Say hi to Rebecca for me.
Yeah, I will.
Even so, I linger. We both do. A mild, humid breeze passes, brings the smell of dried leaves, warmed earth, and a far-off distant memory of false starts and awkward first meetings. Same place, same people playing the same parts. Funny how all the days my brain chooses to remember it now.
Wait, Belle.
No, I don't want this. Ash exits his car, strides are unsteady when he approaches me. Maybe this is uncertainty showing, not quite sure. He's never looked uncertain to me before. Always calm, always sure, always collected. He stops a short distance from me, close enough that he's within arm's reach, but just far enough for his voice to be heard over distant small talk. That's what he's going for. He fumbles with something in his pockets.
Here, catch.
The small bag lands cleanly on my outstretched hands before it hits the ground. I raise an eyebrow at him, and he responds by shrugging and stuffing both his hands back into his pocket. Somewhere to the side, he finds an interesting spot to look at. Sometimes you have to wait, Papa said long ago. For once, this time, I listen. His voice is halting, hesitant.
My mom used to make me carry around one of those when I was young. To ward off evil and bring you luck, she said. I don't believe in this stuff now, but if it makes you feel safe since you're a total scaredy cat, then I guess it's okay to give you one to carry around.
Perhaps at that moment there aren't any words for it. I've never been good with those. But right now, I could thank him in the best way I know. I will leave it there till the next episode. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a good night.